Greetings and welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. This is a special edition. As a disclaimer, I am not a medical doctor. I do not provide medical advice, but my interests include a variety of metaphysical subjects such as philosophy, Moorish science, Reiki healing, crystals, holistic health, astrology, and numerology, as well as art, writing, and more. I am the founder of House of Reawakening Minds, a published author, a former pastor and local TV talk show host, and a retired government housing director. Last but not least, I'm a wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. But now that you know something about me, let's get on with the show. My goal is to bring you information, confirmation, and liberation. Information from me and my informative guests about people, places, and things you either never knew or had never considered. Confirmation about things you may have encountered or thought of, but were afraid to delve into, take seriously, or share with others for fear of rejection. And liberation from having to conform to the status quo and groupthink. Office Hours with Dr. G is here to assist you in knowing thyself and the wonderful universe you're part of. My philosophy is, when you know thyself, you can heal yourself. Tonight's special guest is a special brother who helped me along the way of my journey of healing when I was injured back in 2017. Brother David Levy Bey, better known as Brother Dave, is a board-certified master herbalist and certified natural health professional. He trained under the teaching of the late Dr. Frank Wyatt for 7 years, and then also went on to Trinity School of Natural Health. Brother Dave is trained in the science of kinesiology, iridology, sclerology, herbology, and physiognomy. Tonight, he is going to talk about understanding how nature protects you in a pandemic. And we definitely need to know that. I want to welcome to Office Hours with Dr. J, Brother Dave. Welcome.
Hello, Dr. G. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad that you could make it. And we're doing a special edition.
Thank you. Can you hear me good?
We hear you fine. I hear you fine. We hear you fine. So tonight, you contacted me because you realized that, you contacted me because you realized that during this pandemic, that growing around in and around where we live, where we domicile, are so many natural remedies to healing for issues that, may be virus related or maybe during the season of allergies and so forth, and things that we take for granted, like dandelions and so forth. And so tonight you want to are going to share with us some of what nature does and provides right outside of our front and sometimes back and sometimes our front yards. I think there's a little bit of a delay, but whenever you're ready.
Yes. So I would like to. Okay. So first, I would like to start off by giving thanks to the Creator who makes all things possible. I would like to give thanks to Dr. Frank Wyatt, for whom this knowledge was given to me. I would like to thank Brother Tariq Bey for helping me understand who I was, and I would like to thank brothers like Abdullah and also Abdullah Bey, and also my brother Sutton Rob Bey, and the Canaan Land Moors. I want to give y'all a shout out to, and all praise to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I came into this knowledge, back in 2004 through my own journeys. I was diagnosed at that time with what was called the incurable liver disease. And I came at a crossroads of, they wanted to do a liver biopsy on me to determine if this liver imbalance was cancerous. And I thought better of it. Spiritually, it did not connect with me. And so I sought out holistic healing in order to take care of and heal my body. And that's when I came across Dr. Frank Wyatt. And, you know, that experience was something that I'll never forget. You know, it took me actually 3 months before I could get a chance to see him because of his backlog. He had so many clients to see, but he had some students that he had trained, which he called in the meantime, to help me along until he was able to see me. And, you know, when I went through that experience, it was really a journey for me, you know, understanding that things like kinesiology existed, which is the science of muscle testing, and things like iridology, which is the study of reading the iris, the eyes, and sclerology, which is the science of reading the whites in the eyes, and physiognomy, the study of the face, hands, and tongue. And you know, these things were done to me in order to help me become more balanced and well. And you know, when I finally got to see Dr. Wyatt put me on an herbal regimen, and I never took any drugs, and I got better. And they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't understand how I got better. And, you know, that was my journey, you know, because I really realized what herbs really do for you. And, you know, and understood that, you know, what the Creator said is that I put herbs here for the healing of the nations. That part of scripture was true and exact. And so fast forwarding here, where we're talking about what to do in a pandemic situation, we have to understand that the Creator has put here, nature has put here things for us to deal with these situations that we're in, these times that we're in. You know, there is a saying in the Quran that says that man plans and Allah plans, and that Allah is the best of all planners. So believe me when I tell you that there are things here that we walk by every day that is able to heal us if we would just learn and recognize the plants that are around us, you know. And you know, even with your experience when you showed me what was in your backyard, and you know, right there in your backyard, you had plants that were healers, plants that were actually edible, and because of a lack of knowledge to recognize what they were, one would think, okay, well, they're just weeds, and we just cut them up and get rid of them. But they were actually put here, you know, by the Creator for us, to help us, you know. And you know, me and you have had conversations about these plants, and you know, the world needs to know. Our people need to know what's there for them to help them to heal. You know, being you had the conversation about the herb white clover, which is growing in abundance around us, and is actually a great healer to us, and we need to recognize it. How I came across it in my own experience, you know, when I was telling you that I was at the car dealership, getting work done on my vehicle, and because of the pandemic, I couldn't wait indoors for them to work on it, and for them to, you know, tell me when it was done. you either had to wait outdoors or you had to, you know, go home or, you know, go wherever and just wait for them to call you and when it was ready. So most of the people who were getting work done on their car was just waiting outside. They had a ledge of cement wall around the building that everybody was sitting on and was just waiting. So I'm sitting along with everyone else, and I noticed that I started feeling some congestion in my chest and some congestion in my nose that just seemed like it came out of nowhere. I said, what is going on here? I said, all of a sudden, I got this mucus buildup. I got this congestion in my head. What is happening? And so I looked around, you know, I mean, people had masks on, but I looked around and I said, something's not right in the environment here. And I happened to look up and notice that there was a 5G cell phone tower that was actually just put behind the dealership because that was never there before. And I said, wow, I said, this doesn't feel right. And, you know, me and you had this conversation and I told you, I said, something came to me and said, you need to move. So I got up, acting on that voice, got up and walked across the street, still on the dealership's premises, but walked across the street and sat in a grass field full of these white flowers. And so I'm sitting there and I'm actually on my phone at the time talking with fellow Moors in Canaan land. And I picked up some flowers and started to smell them because a voice in my head said, you need to smell these. And when I grabbed them and I started smelling them, I said to myself, wow, the fragrance, they really smell good. I wasn't expecting that. But then in that same manner, the mucus that had built up out of nowhere just started to go away. And the congestion that came in my lungs that just came out of nowhere started to go away just from me smelling the flowers. And I said, okay, this is something I need to find out about. What's going on with these flowers? Because they are growing abundantly everywhere. Everywhere you drive, you see these little white flowers. So with those white flowers are white clover. And white clover is good for dealing with colds, if you have coughing problems. It's good for dealing with inflammation. So it's great for if you have problems with rheumatoid arthritis. And I tell people all the time, anytime you hear itis at the end of a word, that's nothing but inflammation, okay? The location of it is where you get the front part of the word where you might hear, well, you have sinusitis. Well, you know that's, or rhinitis. You know that's dealing with inflammation in the nose, right? Or if they tell you got bursitis, then you're talking about inflammation in your elbow, you know? Or if they tell you got hepatitis, I don't care if it's hepatitis A, B, or C, it's inflammation in the liver. So we're looking at different degrees of inflammation. So if you got a flower that's around you that's known to reduce the number of inflammation in the body, then you know that that's something that you really want to start working with. You know what I'm saying? You really want to start, you know, saying, okay, what can I do with this flower? Can I make a tea out of it? Yes, you can. Can I make a powder out of it and encapsulate it? Yes, you can. And this flower is good for dealing with these issues. And it's also good for dealing with excess estrogen in the body. okay, which a lot of times women will have, that'll cause different types of health problems with them. Excess estrogen. It's good for dealing with that. It's good for dealing with leukorrhea, which is a vaginal discharge that some women can suffer with. So it's good for dealing with that. This growing abundantly around you. You know what I mean? And so we think that that we're in a situation where we're like by ourselves, not knowing what to do in a so-called pandemic, but the creator always makes a way. Nature always makes a way. There's always a response to something that is meant for harm. Nature will bring you something for good, you know? And you know, you look at how certain times of year something that normally grows is not growing because something else has started to grow there. Now, how did all of a sudden a different plant start to grow in that same space where normally a lot of times we would see dandelion in those areas that we're seeing all these white flowers? So why now is it this white clover growing all over the place? Because it's nature's answer to what's going on. You see what I'm saying? And so, you know, this is something that we need to understand. You know, it's also just like its cousin, red clover, a blood cleanser. So it helps to cleanse the blood. So this right around us growing abundantly does so much for us and help us in these times, okay? Because if you look at what they're saying that this pandemic causes, respiratory problems, you know what I'm saying? Inflammation in the body, you know, these things, you know, are some of the known things that they're saying that this so-called, you know, pandemic is causing. Well, in nature, you got things to correct it. And that white clover is definitely one of them to help out, you know? And we just have to recognize what's going on around us, what's growing around us, you know? And I was in the park on Saturday, and I noticed that, you know, people were out there gathering, you know, doing a little cooking out and stuff. But I noticed the women that were sitting, put their little blanket out, but were sitting among this white clover, they seemed to be happy. You know, it was like as if it was changing the vibration of the mood of people. You know what I mean? Which plants are known to do. Anybody who knows anything about Bach flowers know that Dr. Bach studied the emotional states of plants, how they can change your emotional state. So just sitting in that field of white clover seemed to be changing the moods of the females that was sitting out in the park around it. So I noticed it and I said, wow, you know, look at this. Look at what nature is doing for us if we only would recognize what nature is doing, you know?
Yes. It's interesting. You know, we both have that app, the picture this. And so I went through I went through my yard one day last week, looks like June 11th, and I started snapping pictures because it's all overgrown with weeds. That actually weeds took over my raised boxes because I didn't plant anything this year, and I got some things that are almost as tall as me. And I told my husband not to cut them down for some reason. I will figure out what they are, but I didn't think I'd figure out what they was. And then I found this app, and I wanted to show you this. Like one of the I don't know if everybody can see this particular, how clear that is. I'm trying to bring that up close enough. This is the one in the middle. The one that's a little bit. There's two things there, but the bigger one is called rib wart planting, and it is used. The leaves, the tea from the leaves is used as a cough medicine. Now I These are weeds. I didn't plant these. I'm gonna tell you these are the things that are in my yard. I have something called common sow thistle. I have.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Common sow.
Cleavers.
Yeah, cleavers is one. Common sow thistle. Common chickweed. We've all heard of chickweed in herbal. I have chickweed that's growing. The chickweed. Here's the chickweed that's growing in my yard. That's chickweed.
Beautiful.
I have
now, Dr. G. Let me just say this with chickweed. Now, right there, growing in your yard, that chickweed is a fat emulsifier. It helps to break down fat in the body. It also helps to break down tumorous growth. Chickweed is an excellent herb to break up a tumor. You see what I'm saying? Growing right there in your yard. Now, if you go into any Lowe's or Home Depot and you look at some of these weed killers, right? Some of the weeds that they're recommending that you kill is chickweed and dandelion. But those are two herbs that are so great for us. And so what we have to recognize is that we need to rethink about wanting to kill the weeds that are growing in our lawn. You know, we need to find out what it is first. And before you sit up there and try to kill it, you might want to cultivate it, you know what I'm saying? And get some use out of it before you then cut your grass. You see what I'm saying? Because they're telling you to kill the very thing that you need for health because you don't recognize what it is. Like that planting growing in your yard, you know, planting is also, you can take it and chew it up, right? And make a paste out of it and put it on a cut. And it's like nature's natural Band-Aid. Wow. So it can heal the wound right from a cut right away. You know what I mean? We used to, when we was in our right knowledge state of mind, we would take that plant and somebody had a cut or a wound, and we would take it and put it in our mouth and chew it up and make a paste out of it using our saliva and put it right on that cut and heal that cut up. Right in your yard.
Well, I
want to visit your backyard.
I've got Virginia creeper, and I've got mock strawberry. I've got white clover, of course. Yeah, here's the white clover I've got in my yard. So I've got the white clover that you were talking about.
Right.
Yard.
Yeah.
These are actual pictures that I've taken. I have prickly lettuce. Now I don't know what that is, but it is. I don't know what it does. It's like a wild lettuce. I've got annual fleabane. I don't know what that is. So, you know, and I don't think and I've got pokeweed, like poke salad, Annie.
Yeah,
you know,
I told you about pokeweed. Pokeweed. Now, pokeweed is a very toxic herb, so you got to know what you're doing when you're dealing with pokeweed. Okay. Now, what I can say is, even though it's a very toxic herb, if you catch its early leaves when it first starts to bloom, the baby leaves on it are very edible. But you don't want to eat the berries of pokeweed because it's very toxic. So you don't eat the berries of pokeweed. But pokeweed is very good for extracting toxins out of the body. Okay, it will bring stuff up, definitely. You know, it'll definitely cause you to evacuate your bowels, meaning that it's gonna go, you're gonna go. Pokeweed has also been used traditionally for things like breast cancer. So it's a herb that we definitely need to take a critical look at. You know what I'm saying? Because it does have great medicinal properties, but it's better left to one who's schooled like myself to deal with it rather than somebody that's a novice. Because, like I said, it's very toxic, so you really need to know what you're doing.
Well, listen, the Virginia creeper that I have in my yard, it purifies the air and it removes toxins and other harmful impurities.
Look at that.
That's the Virginia creeper. I mean, we got stuff
Right.
coming down. You know, you're right. You said, the creator puts with earlier in the season, I had a backyard full of purple, was it nettles or whatever?
Yeah,
what was that?
Purple dead nettle, yes.
And I know someone, who made a really good tincture out of that. I didn't know what I had, but my husband cut them down.
I don't know if you can see it, but that's it.
That's what I
That's
had.
the purple dead nettle.
They were all, my whole yard was full, but they're going now. The yard was
right.
full. They left, and then white clover came up in
right.
May. So
but,
it's like,
purple,
take that, and then take that.
And the purple dead nettle, it's an anti-inflammatory, it's antibacterial, and it's antifungal. So with that purple dead nettle, you could have made like an antifungal cream to put on a fungus. You see what I'm saying? But it's also edible. You know what I mean? Because it's full of vitamin A, it's full of vitamin C. It's a good source of iron. You know what I mean? And it's very good. And it's something that you can put in smoothies. You know what I mean? So that's growing right in your yard, right there for you. So to show you what the creator does, it's a diuretic. So if you're having problems with flushing your kidneys, well, this will help you. So because it also is a diuretic. It's also a diaphoretic, meaning that it helps you to sweat. Because I tell people that sweating is very necessary in order to get toxins out of the body. So if you're a person who doesn't sweat, you're going to have problems releasing toxins. So it's good to sweat. That's why exercise is so important, because that's a way for you to release toxins out of the body. And if you're a person who doesn't sweat, purple dead nettle helps with increasing the sweat. So right there in your yard, growing all that good stuff.
I'm so upset that I let my purple dead nettle get cut down. But it'll come back. It'll come back.
You know what I mean? The creator, listen. If you need it, the creator will bring it back for you. Now you know. See, you didn't know before. And that's the way we're looking at it. A lot of these plants, we're looking at them as weeds, and they're really there to help us. You know what I mean? So yes, that purple dead nettle is great. And also the ground ivy
I got ivy too.
Yeah, that ground ivy.
English ivy. I think it said I have English ivy.
Yeah, you had ground ivy growing back there also, because it was one of the pictures that you had sent me, and that was ground ivy.
I think that was my neighbor. That was
your neighbor.
Yes.
Okay. Well, listen, that's still close enough.
Yes, doors over. Yeah.
Like, hey neighbor, let me inform you on what you have here. And let me tell you what ground ivy is good for. See, this is why I tell you, the creator never left us hanging. Ground ivy is good for lung problems, coughs, bronchitis, okay? All dealing with stuff that we're dealing with this pandemic, okay? Mm-hmm. Arthritis, joint pain, ringing of the ears, which is tinnitus. So if you have that ringing of the ears, that ground clover is good for that. Good for stomach problems, okay? Good for if you have problems with diarrhea. Good for hemorrhoids. All of us has had a bout with that at one time or another. You know what I mean? I mean, let's be real. So it's good for hemorrhoids. It's good for bladder infections. If you have a bladder infection, it's good for bladder stones. If you got stones in your bladder, it's also good for kidney stones. How many of us have had to deal with that? You know how many people have had painful stones passing through, or they had to have surgery? And here's a plant growing right next door to you that's good for kidney stones.
Wow.
You see how the creator doesn't leave you hanging at all, you know?
True.
You
It's
know,
just that
and I'm telling you, many people have come to me that have dealing with problems with their kidneys and problems with kidney stones. I've given them herbs and they pass the stones so much easier. Why? Because the herb breaks it down so that when you do pass it, there's no pain. You know?
But you have to
And
know the quantity and the amounts of these things or how to use them. And you can't just go out and snatch the stuff up and start making tea or whatever out of it.
Absolutely. You know, and that's where a person like me comes in, because you still need to deal with a professional, somebody who knows, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to just arbitrarily just do things without some guidance until you fully understand how to do it. And then once you got it, you got it. But at the same token, isn't it beautiful just to know it's there, though? You know what I mean? To know it's there and know that you can do something with it, you know?
The first time I heard what you're saying was a couple of years ago. A brother who's still very active, Dr. Be Serious. We had him here at the House of Awakening Minds, and he does a lot of tinctures and herbs and formulas and so forth. And he told me that he had taken ill when he moved from Khalifa territory back, east, and I guess he ended up in the ATL. And he said to me, he said, everything I needed turned out to be growing out in my backyard. And he said, this is what he told me. This is back like 2014, 2015, maybe 2015, I think it was. He said, everything that I needed to heal my body was literally growing within a few feet of where I lived. And he said, that's normally how it is. And that was the first time I heard it. And then the second time I heard it was from you, about the fact that, it stuck with me because he told me this about 5 years ago. And I never even considered that the same thing was happening outside my backyard. And I deal with issues of like sort of bronchitis type things or bringing up a lot of phlegm and, and having to deal with, like my grandmother passed with from tuberculosis. And I won't blow some people's mind, but I have residuals in this lifetime, but I'll just leave it like that.
Right.
Of my grandmother. She passed when my mother was 7. So that's how long she was gone. And then she decided to make a reappearance or to reappear, over this way. And some of her essence, and I've had readings, and her essence of who she is, some of those things I suffer with. So it's very ironic. They tried to maybe about 15 years ago to diagnose me with sarcoidosis. And I looked at the doctor and I said, I don't have that. And I was, I remember what my grandmother, I was told that my grandmother transitioned from, but every time something was said that might be, some type of, sentence on my life, I just rejected it. It was like, not in this lifetime. Yeah, which is not in this lifetime. But I want to go back. You were giving your story because not everyone knows, about the fact that your testimony about your liver, because you had also gone to conventional hospital doctor, right? And initially, and you didn't tell that part. And I want you to share what happened after you had taken. Tell a little bit about the process when when you use the kinesiology. Of course, you're testing what products will work with people, and that's what was happening with you with Dr. Wyatt's students, and that's what you do too. But by the time you got to see him and whatever regimen he put you on, then you got a call back from the I guess the Western medicine physicians, practitioners, I call it the practitioners. So you got a call and they told you something. And I think this was, when I heard you say this, it was so profound about what that doctor said to you about why you needed to go and get some other tests. Could you share it, please?
Right. So to tell you what happened. So as I was taking these herbs, the primary care doctor that I was seeing at that particular time, he's scratching his head. He's touching base with the upper GI specialist that they sent me to see originally, They're comparing notes. They're trying to figure out how am I improving and I haven't taken any drugs, any medication. How am I getting better? How is this possible? So they finally sent me to University of Pennsylvania Hospital to get an upper GI, to see an upper GI specialist. And they was looking at my tests, and they wanted to run more tests. And I told them, I'm not doing any more tests. And the doctor looked at me and said, well, why don't you want to get any more tests done? Don't you want to make sure everything is fine so that your family can know that everything is okay? And I said, no, I'm not getting any more tests done. I said, because I feel fine. I said, I know how I felt when I was sick, and now I know how I feel now, and I know that I am well. I know how I feel. I said I can see it in my skin. I can see, when you're going through that situation with the liver imbalance, you can have feelings of feeling like you're going to pass out. You get brain fog. All these symptoms that I had when I was going through that were gone. So I knew I was better. You know what I mean? So I said, no, I'm not going to get any more tests done. And then she said something to me very profound. And, Dr. Wyatt had taught me that words have power, and always be aware of the power of words. And she said to me, she said, well, now that we have planted the seed in your head, you might want to think about getting these tests done. And I looked and I said, whoa, planted the seed in my head. I said, oh no, I'm not receiving that at all, And so I still refused. And, 2 weeks after that, I was driving and I got a call and I had it on speaker. And I'm driving and it was from them. And they said, we just wanted to call and let you know that we don't know what happened, but your body fought off the virus and is no longer there. And I'm laughing as I'm driving because I'm like, well, thank you for telling me that, but I already knew because I knew how I felt. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so then when I went back to the primary care doctor, he was amazed, but then he asked me the question. He said, well, are you doing anything? And I was like, yeah. And I always carried my herbal regimen with me that I had from Dr. Wyatt. So I showed it to him and he looked at it and he said, wow, shook his head, smiled. I don't know where these people come from. Why they got you taking all this stuff? All they do is take your money. And that's what he said. But then when he handed me back my regimen to me, the truth came out, but you got to be listening. And he said to me, he said, what is he trying to do? Turn you into a Superman? I knew right then and there that I was doing the right thing because he didn't say, what is he trying to do? You're taking this stuff. What is he trying to do? Kill you? No. He said, what is he trying to do? Turn you into a Superman. And I said to myself, oh yeah, I'm definitely doing the right thing because who wouldn't want to be Superman? Right. So that was my journey. And since 2004, I have not taken one drug, not even an aspirin. Everything that I have taken has been herbs. That's all, And I tell people all the time, I said, it's not like I can't get sick, but watch how fast I recover. That's what you got to watch out for. you know,
Right.
because I used to, because people watch you, you know what I'm saying? They watch what you do. And when something happens, you might have a cough or look like, okay, you might be coming down with something, and people say, oh, Brother Dave sick? How's Brother Dave sick? And I would smile and say, believe me, it ain't that deep, and it won't last that long. And keep taking my herbs. Within a day or two, bam, I'm right back to normal. And it's been that way for me since 2004. And I studied under Dr. Frank Wyatt for 7 years. I studied under him. And then I went to Trinity School of Natural Health, which was the same school that he went to, and got my certification as, master herbalist, as well as certified natural health professional. But I just want to say that teaching, that 7 years of training under Dr. Wyatt was priceless. Priceless. You know what I mean? Because I learned so much. You know what I mean? And, when I see clients, it was those experiences with him. Even though Trinity gave me a great education too, I will never take anything away from Trinity School of Natural Health. But it was that 7 years of training with him that so prepared me for being able to help our people. And the whole approach is so different when you're talking about holistic health, because we don't sit there and deal with a bunch of diseases. We get to root cause. What caused the problem in the first place? I tell people all the time, I can see 5 different people who have high blood pressure find 5 different reasons why they have it. Because why? Because I'm dealing with you. I'm not dealing with the name. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like chasing ghosts. Because some people can have high blood pressure because they don't get enough sleep. And I can find that out. Some people can have high blood pressure because they have a kidney infection. And I can find that out. Or it could be a thyroid imbalance. Or just that you're under a lot of stress. There's different reasons why you can get so-called high blood pressure. So therefore, the approach is, why in the first place? Why did this happen in the first place? You see what I'm saying? Because I don't want to just deal with high blood pressure. That's chasing ghosts. I'm not dealing with the root, the cause, what happened, what caused it. You see what I'm saying? And it's the way that I address everything. You know what I'm saying? You come with me with a problem with your kidneys, and I'm going to deal with, okay, why is there a kidney problem in the first place? Because it could be because of diet, could be eating the wrong foods for your blood type, as we'll talk about.
Yes.
It could be a situation where now we're talking emotions, because the brain, number one cause of sickness is negative thinking. It could be because of a certain emotional state, because every organ and gland has an emotional state connected to it. And one of the emotional states that will weaken your kidneys or cause your kidneys to get out of balance is fear and worrying about money. Finances will cause your kidneys to become weak. You see what I'm saying? So if that person has that type of situation that they're dealing with, if I don't address that, I can't help them bring their kidneys back into balance, because I got to deal with that emotional state that caused it as well. That's why it's holistic. And I'm dealing with the total you, not bits and parts of you, but the whole you. I got to deal with the whole you. You know what I mean? So these are the things that people need to understand. You know what I'm saying? You don't deal with a person in bits and parts. You got a problem going on with your heart. Okay, I got to think about, okay, what's going on with this person with anger? What's going on with this person with patience? Because all of those emotional states weaken the heart. You see what I'm saying? So if I don't deal with that, are you a very impatient person, or are you a very angry person? If I don't deal with those things, I can't help you correct that imbalance with your heart.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So
we see them also, those types of things also, as a Reiki practitioner, that a lot of times people are dealing with things in certain energy centers. There might be a total imbalance at the heart chakra. And, and it, it's one thing to, throw some energy that way and get the wheel spinning right, but there's an underlying problem of what caused it to go out of whack from, from the outset. And so if you don't address that, it'll just go back out of balance again. So I get what you're saying. There's a couple of questions that have come up. Like, for instance, one sister asked if you could recommend what's good for fibroids. She says that 4 to 6 centimeters and that she has 3. Is there a natural, I guess, herbal, some kind? And I know I had to move the batter that was running because I can see that the bottom part of where I put your number is kind of getting cut off. So I'll move it every few minutes so people can get your number, but they can see your email address to contact you. But, I know you can do consultations and you have all kinds of herbal formulas, but in general, because you mentioned one of the herbs we were talking about earlier did some things with estrogen and so forth. And I don't know whether excess estrogen has anything to do with fibroids or what it is. What do you recommend, if anything?
Well, I have a formula that deals with the fibroids. You know what I mean? And the thing that you got to understand too when you're dealing with the fibroids is diet. Okay? Because one of the things that is very common in causing fibroids is eating too much dairy. So one would need to cut out the dairy when you have issues with fibroids. That's one. Emotional states of fibroid is letting go of anger. Fibroids a lot of times are caused by a lot of anger issues too. Usually directed at a male. Sorry, males, but it is. Usually directed at a male. So we got to look at those things too. We got to look at, where's the suppressed anger coming from? You see what I'm saying? But fibroids can be dealt with proper diet and the proper herbs, Okay. So and there's a formula that I have that really deal with them, and I've been pretty successful with it because all the fibroid tumor is doing is storing toxic waste that has not escaped the body. You know what I'm saying?
Hasn't cleared out yet.
Yeah. Yep. So, we got to keep in mind the diet, because usually that diet, if that diet's bad, if it's full of eating a bunch of meat and a bunch of dairy, eating a lot of ice cream and a whole bunch of like drinking milk and eating a lot of cheese. I find that to be one of the biggest weakness with women. They like cheese. And it's like, okay, listen, I know you like cheese, but it's not good for you because cheese don't like you. Dr. Jewel Pookrum used to talk about it all the time. She said that she discovered that she was getting lumps in her breasts, and the lumps were coming from eating a bunch of cheese. And when she cut that cheese and the dairy out of her diet, that those lumps eventually went away. You know what I'm saying? But chickweed is very helpful when dealing with fibroids because, like I said, it's a fat emulsifier. It helps to break up tumors, okay? But you definitely want to know, what herbs that will work for you or what fibroid formula is good for you. You know what I'm saying? But I do have a fibroid formula. But when you want to deal with it, you start with that diet first. And then, the fibroid formula, we'll give you my number and, you'll be able to get it if you want it. But definitely work on that diet because dairy is a big problem.
Okay. There's another question that had to do with when they want to put you on drugs for high blood pressure. I know you have a high blood pressure formula because I have it, but they're asking, what can you take?
So there's different things to deal with high blood pressure. The problem is finding out what is the root of it. You see what I'm saying? So my whole thing is, I don't just want to give you something for high blood pressure. I want to find out what's the cause. You see what I'm saying? Because then I can educate you on how to deal with it properly. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of us have gone years and years and years and years of dealing with this. And being on this medication for all these years, what happens is it damages your kidneys, and then you wind up on dialysis from years and years of taking high blood pressure medication. So we want to find out, okay, what's the cause of it? You see what I'm saying? Is it an old infection? Because that happens a lot. Old infections that they never got rid of. You know, because when you take antibiotics, and I'm not talking about nature's antibiotics, I'm talking about the chemical antibiotics. Those antibiotics don't get rid of nothing. All it does is mask the symptom. You think it's gone, the symptoms is gone, so you're like, okay, it's gone. But what it does is it take a different pathology, and later on in life, it comes back as something else. You see what I'm saying? What I find with a lot of male clients who've quote unquote had this particular imbalance, I would find that they had an old kidney infection that never got taken care of, or an old bladder infection that never got straightened out. You see what I'm saying? So all these years, that never got addressed. And so now that's why they got issues with the high blood pressure. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes when they say take something for, say, something that was sexually transmitted, and you take these antibiotics for it, and you say, okay, I'm good, it's all gone, it's all cleared up, but it's not. It's actually there dormant, it comes back later. And so now you got this kidney infection, you got this ache in the lower back, wondering what's going on, why you got this lower back pain. You see what I'm saying? And you never got rid of it, and now it's causing pressure problems because you're not processing and moving fluids through your body like you should. You see what I mean? So a weak or infected kidney will definitely cause a high blood pressure problem because you're not moving fluids. See what I'm saying? So therefore, if I find that the root of it is a kidney issue, then I got to work on that. You see what I'm saying? Along with whatever else caused you to get into that state. You see what I mean? Because education is the key. If you're going to be good at what you do, you got to be able to educate your client. It's all about education, educating them to how to now be able to deal with their situation, how to overcome it. You know what I mean? Right. So it goes levels and levels deep.
Another question. My sister has Graves. What do you recommend for Graves disease?
So Graves disease, a lot of times, is dealing a lot of times with kidneys too. You definitely want to get to the root of what's going on with that particular area. You know what I'm saying? You definitely want to deal with what's going on with the body, because what happens with us is we get caught up in the name game. You know what I'm saying? We get caught up in what they name, and then we take on the name, and then we suffer. You know what I'm saying? So with Graves, you talk about situation with the thyroid problems, kidneys. It could be related to a kidney infection. It could be related to thyroid problems, right? A lot of times with people is that their hormones are out of balance. You know what I mean? Like if a person is too hyper, and they end up with a hyperthyroid problem. You know what I mean? Hyper thyroid comes from a lot of times a person just being too hyped. You know, they don't know how to calm down. So they get to running ahead of themselves. You know what I mean? Thyroid, which deals with metabolism, you get ahead of themselves. Too much hormone being excreted. So how we deal with it is we deal with herbs that are known to balance out the thyroid. You see what I'm saying? Like a herb like kelp. Kelp is very good for balancing out thyroid issues, whether it be hyper or hypo. You see what I'm saying? So we definitely want to deal with stuff like that. But we want to throw out the names, because we get caught up in these names. You know what I mean? So when somebody comes to see me with so-called Graves' disease, I'm going to see what else is going on, because that's, like I said, the names is like chasing ghosts. So if I have a situation where you're telling me you got that, I'm going to check your iodine levels to see if you got a imbalance of iodine. You know what I mean? And then if you have an imbalance of iodine, then I'm going to be like, okay, we need to improve the iodine imbalance. And what is a great source of iodine? Well, great source of iodine is kelp, bladderwrack, sea moss. All of those are great sources of iodine. You see what I'm saying? Now, if it's hypothyroid situation where you got slow thyroid function, I'm still going to see if it's dealing with an iodine deficiency as well. Kelp is one herb that's good for both hypo or hyper. It's good for both, conditions. So that might be one way that I address it. I have a thyroid formula that has a different combination of herbs that help balance out the thyroid, whether it's hypo or hypo. You see what I'm saying? So there's different herbs that deal with it, but to deal with the Graves' disease, as far as the name, is like chasing ghosts. We want to stay away from getting stuck on the name. Let's look at what's going on. You know what I mean? How is that person living? How is that person's diet? You know what I'm saying? Are they iodine deficient because they don't have enough natural salt in their diet? I ain't talking about the table salt. I'm talking about natural salt. So natural salt, something like celery or some natural salt stuff. What is lacking in their diet? So that's what we want to deal with. And then, like I said, in the emotional state, are they too hyper, or do they suffer from depression? Suffering from depression will deal with causing you to have low thyroid function. You see what I'm saying? So being too hype, a person that's too hype, don't know how to sit still, constantly running, could end up with hyperthyroid problem. A person who's always depressed and always in a depressed state can end up with low thyroid function, hypo. You see what I'm saying? So we want to find out what's going on with them emotionally.
Okay. What about high blood sugar?
So when you're talking about imbalances of blood sugar, I want to see what's going on with that person's pancreas, okay, and what their diet is like, okay. Are they eating seedless fruits? You know what I'm saying? Because seedless fruits will cause a blood sugar imbalance. You see what I'm saying? That's why you want to stay away from it, because seedless fruits, what it does, it robs your body of a mineral called manganese. Manganese is a mineral that helps balance out your blood sugar. So if there's a blood sugar problem, I want to find out what you're eating. You know what I'm saying? Or are you eating a lot of sweets? You know what I'm saying? Or foods that are not good for your blood type. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful of what you're consuming. And if that person has, say, a strong craving for sugar, then what I would probably tell them is that they need to do some chromium GTF, which stands for glucose tolerance factor, because chromium will help control the sugar cravings. You see what I'm saying? And so that will help with to start dealing with balancing out the blood sugar. You know what I mean? But definitely, I would also see what's going on as far as their manganese levels. You know what I mean? Because if they got a deficiency in manganese, then I know that their blood sugar is going to be off too. And like a lot of times that people come see me that quote unquote told they were diabetic, I find that, okay, they're manganese deficient. That's what's really going on with them. And find out in their diet that they're eating things like seedless fruits. Oh yeah, I eat grapes all the time. I say, oh, they seedless? Oh yeah. Okay, that's the problem. You know what I mean? Or I love watermelon, but I don't like the seeds. I get that seedless watermelon. Oh, that's a problem. You see, because that's why you're manganese deficient, because eating those seedless fruits cause you to be that way. You know what I mean? And manganese is such an important mineral. The nickname is called the nurturer. Okay, so when a person is deficient in manganese, they can become very uncaring, a very uncaring person. You know what I'm saying? Very angry, very uncaring, don't care about anything. So you don't want to be deficient in that mineral because your mood can be very bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of times when you find people eating a lot of sweets, they tend to be very, very hyper, very easily angered. You know what I mean? So yeah, cut back on all that sugar.
Okay, let me go.
See the fruits.
If the overuse of steroids have deteriorated your bones, hips in particular, is there any natural remedy to repair them? I know you gave me something to put on, when I had my double, the injury to both my quadriceps.
Right.
But they're asking, is there any, this is from overuse of steroids though, deteriorated the bones and hips. Is there any natural remedy for repair?
So deterioration of the bones, there are herbs that are good for strengthening the bones. Okay, I have a formula of sea moss, bladderwrack, and burdock root, which is very good for helping strengthen the bones, along with taking like vitamin D. But you definitely want to make sure that you are doing vitamin D in addition to the sea moss, bladderwrack, and burdock root, because the sea moss, bladderwrack, and burdock root will give you calcium and magnesium, but the vitamin D you have to get from another source. So I always will recommend for them to do a vitamin D supplement as well, because all of that is needed for healthy and strong bones. And drink celery juice, because celery is very important in strengthening the bones. Very important. If you've seen the lecture, of course you were there, but for those of you who've seen the lecture I did on the doctrine of signatures, celery is very good for strengthening the bones. So
And
drink
it looks
celery.
like the bone. It looks like,
yes, it looks like the bone. And that's what the doctrine of signatures is all about. The doctrine of signatures is telling you about food that looks similar to the organs in your body, and it happens to be particularly good for that particular area. So celery does look like the bones in your body, and so therefore it is a very good food for helping to strengthen the bones. So drink the celery juice as well. Yeah.
okay, this is from a brother who says, I've been having an overactive bladder for a while now, as well as passing stools frequently, and that Western doctors have been useless. So wondering if you have.
He said he's had an overactive bladder. So basically that he I guess can't hold his water. He goes to the bathroom a lot, I'm assuming. So usually what happens in a situation like that is that person is usually deficient in things like vitamin A and vitamin D. Because vitamin A and vitamin D are two vitamins that are very necessary for strengthening the bladder. And if you're deficient in that, okay, you will have problems with bladder control. I can give you an example of a client that I had that I checked them and found out that they had a virus, which you know that I can do. And so I checked them, went over their viral points, found out that they had a virus. And one of the things that the virus had affected was the fact that they couldn't hold their water, so they were bedwetting. And what I did is I put them on a vitamin A and vitamin D supplement, in addition to giving them a herbal formula to get rid of the virus out of their body. But the vitamin A and vitamin D supplement helped that bladder get strong. And you know, they actually called me the next day after taking the regimen for the first time and said to me, you know, I don't know if it's just just my mind or is this actually happening? But, you know, I actually woke up this morning and I have not wet the bed. So it is working that fast. And I said, yeah, when you give the body what it needs, yeah, it will. But you got to know what's going on with it. Because let's think about it. And I tell people this all the time. Common sense is the greatest science. There is no greater science than common sense. Every organ and gland in your body is connected to a vitamin or mineral. So if every organ and gland in your body is connected to a vitamin or mineral, if you're deficient in that particular vitamin or mineral, then that organ or gland that's connected to that particular vitamin and mineral has to be affected as well because it needs it to function. It's really that simple. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's just like if, excuse me, if you need to put oil in your car ain't got the oil in it that it needs, then the car ain't going to run until it gets the quality oil that it needs. Then when it gets the quality oil that it needs, then that engine runs smooth. Okay? So if you're deficient in a particular vitamin or mineral, that organ is going to be affected by it until you replenish your body enough with that particular vitamin or mineral that you need. Once you do that, you're back to yourself again. You see what I'm saying? So we have to understand those things. You know what I mean? And, you know, that's, you know, like with myself, you know, just having this knowledge is so beautiful because if I feel something is not right with me, I have the ability to check, go over my body blueprint points and find out where my imbalances are. Now, when I find out where they are, then I start taking the herbs that are high in those particular vitamin or minerals that I'm deficient in. And once I do that, I bounce back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, this is what we need to know and understand. You know what I'm saying? It goes a long, long way to helping us when we understand this science. You see what I'm saying? When we understand this, goes a long way. You know what I mean? And it's important, you know what I mean, for us to know these things or to see a professional who understands these sciences because, you know, one of the narratives out there, and we talked about this previously, you know, as far as you could be walking around asymptomatic, not knowing that you have a virus and pass this on. Well, when you understand this science the way I do, I can find out. You know what I mean? And I ain't got to draw no blood to find out whether or not you got a virus going on. So just understanding these sciences are priceless. You know what I'm saying? I can never thank my teacher, Dr. Frank Wyatt, enough. I can never thank him enough. And I can never thank Trinity School of Natural Health enough for the lessons that I've learned because it is priceless information, you know, and we really need to know and understand that these things are out here for us. You know, nature is good to us when you are good to it. So believe me, you know, you respect nature, nature will respect you. You know, I picked some white clover, and you know the bees love white clover. So when you go into these areas, yes, white clover honey, they love it. But you know what? I can go into a field of white clover and pick white clover and don't worry about getting stung. You know why? Because I respect the bees. If you're over here in there getting white clover, I'm not going to touch that. You got that area. You're taking care of that. I know it's plenty out here that you left for me untouched. Because why? Because nature knows how to share. You know what I mean? We don't have to be greedy and take it all. You know what I mean? He says, listen, I take what I need, you know what I mean? And I take it back to my hive and we do what we do with it. But guess what? I'm not so greedy that I'm going to take it all up from you. You can do what you need to do with it too. But respect my space. So when I come over and I see they're there, okay, I say hi, how y'all doing? Thank you for what you do. And I walk over to the area where they not at, and then I pick. It's okay. This is where it's okay for me to pick, because they're not over here. So they left some area for me. You see what I'm saying? Respect nature.
I found that there's another plant now growing in my front that already showed up to, with the white clover, and it looks like yellow flowers. It's called Black Medic, and it's growing now in the front, in the midst of the white clover as of like.
And what's it called again? Black what?
Black Medic, like black Medic, Black Medick.
Okay.
And it's also.
I'm not familiar with that one, but
it's
hey,
not. It's
I'll
growing,
find out.
But okay, but while I'll get the information on it. But there's a question here: what's great for knocking out gas in the stomach that causes burping?
Ginger.
Oh, really?
Do some ginger. Ginger is very good. Ginger actually looks like your stomach, so ginger is very good for dealing with stomach issues. You know. Or chamomile tea, very good for dealing with stomach issues. You know, aloe is very good for dealing with stomach issues. You know, so there's a number of different herbs out there that's very good for dealing with that. You know what I mean? Okay. And the reason why there's so many herbs in the herb kingdom is because with what might be a good herb for digestion for one person might not be good for another person. So there's another herb out there for them that's good for digestion. See? So there's a lot of herbs out there that do different things. So because say one might not work for you, doesn't mean that herbs don't work, just might have gotten the wrong one for you. See what I'm saying? So that's why understanding is very important. You know what I mean? And when a person comes to see me, of course, I check them to see what herbs are good for them and which ones aren't. See what I'm saying? But that's all part of the process. You know, what herbs are good, what herbs work for you, what herbs don't work for you. You know what I mean? So that your body is all truth. It's going to tell me what works for it and what doesn't.
Wow.
You know, but ginger is very good for digestion. Yes.
Okay. What would you recommend to women who have breast cancer or are recovering from breast cancer?
If a person has it, I would tell them to definitely do chickweed to help break up the tumor, because remember, chickweed is a emulsifier. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's a fat emulsifier. So you want to break up the tumor, but you want to do herbs that are known to be good for dealing with the breast. Like when we was talking earlier about poke root. Like you could buy poke root in capsule form, and that's very good to deal with it. You got a lot of different herbs in the herb kingdom that's good for dealing with that particular imbalance. I would want to see you to see what's going on in order to see exactly which ones you would need, but just as, you know, a recommendation. We want to find out what's going on with the lymphatic system. So you talking about dealing with lymphatics like echinacea, you know what I'm saying, is good for dealing with the lymphatics, you know what I'm saying? There's a number of different herbs that you know deal with it, you know what I mean? But we want to know which one is good for you. You know, you want to do things, if it's a situation where it's in your bloodstream, you can do herbs like red clover. Red clover is good for cleansing the bloodstream. Okay, so you always want to be mindful of herbs that are clearing out your lymphatic system, herbs that are cleansing out your bloodstream. So you want to do herbs that are doing things like that to deal with it, and you want to keep the right state of mind. You know what I mean? And foods that are good for dealing with issues of the breast are oranges, your citrus fruits, oranges, lemons, you do grapefruits, all good for dealing with breast stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, but right, like, because that look of the same look of, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the cross section of it.
if you cut an orange in half and put it on your chest, it would look like, you know, breast. You know what I mean? Same with grapefruit and all. Yeah. So those are good foods dealing with breast issues. Okay.
Okay, I'm going
like
down.
I said, with anybody, I would rather them come in and
People
say
are throwing
exactly
out
what's going on.
various, you know, illnesses. This is good stuff. Someone is dealing with numbness in their right toe, and then there's also a person who is suffering in their feet and unable to walk and had to get steroid injections. And so these are two different. They both foot problems. I put them together.
Yeah, well, you know, if you're talking about a person dealing with their numbness in their right toe, then what I'm going to think is, okay, what's going on with circulation, and is there an issue going on with the liver? And the reason why I say that is because the big toe actually represents the liver. So numbness in the big toe, I'm thinking, okay, what's going on with the liver and what's going on with circulation? Okay, so I would probably address that. You know what I mean? Giving them herbs dealing with increasing circulation and also cleansing out the liver if there's any liver issue, because big toe does represent the liver.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I found out about the black medic that I asked. Black medic extract reportedly has, and this is now growing in my front lawn, has antibacterial qualities and may be effective as a mild laxative. However, it may increase blood clotting and shouldn't be used by people who use blood thinning medications. But that's what it is. It has antibacterial properties and can be a mild laxative. So I was thinking, before my neighbor cuts mine up and puts the sod down tomorrow, maybe I need to pick it, and maybe I could make some kind of hand sanitizer or something if it's antibacterial.
Right. But like I said, with certain herbs, you know, if you don't really have familiarity with them, then, you know, it's best to get to really know them before you try to use them. Like that one I really haven't ever used, so I'm not really familiar with that one.
It's
but
actually in the clover family. It actually grows. It's related, and that's why I said it's right there with the white clover. So it's a clover. It's another.
So it's also in the clover family. Well, listen, that just goes to show you. Going back to my point, is that the Creator never left you hanging. He'll always put something there for you to deal with a situation. So that's good, you know, and that's good that now you know what's there. So when it grows again, you're already ready for it.
Right. So, you know, this let me see if there are any more questions.
Now, something that I wanted to touch on too, for people to look out for, that's very good for dealing with respiratory problems, is mullein. Okay, mullein, very good for dealing with respiratory issues.
Unless you are blood type B, like me.
Yeah. And this is also mullein.
Okay.
Very good. Mullein, very good for dealing with respiratory problems. You know what I'm saying? It is good for a person dealing with so-called COPD or emphysema. You know, it's good for extracting mucus out of the lungs. It opens up the lung passageway so you can breathe. You know what I'm saying? So mullein is very good. Also, marshmallow. Marshmallow is a very good herb. You know, it's most of the time when people don't know about this herb, they thinking about the candy marshmallow. I'm like, no,
not that one.
No, don't start eating marshmallow candy thinking that's going to help. But marshmallow, the herb marshmallow, okay, and that herb is very good for dealing with issues of the lungs. Very good for bringing out mucus. You know, both of those particular herbs are in my formula that deals with the respiratory system. You know what I'm saying? Because they are both excellent for improving respiratory problems. You know, I had a client that had this. Well, he was diagnosed with that particular imbalance that's out there now. But remember, I don't name diseases. Okay, right. if you got a virus, okay, I don't tell you you got this particular type virus, because in nature don't know names. Nature knows viruses exist, and nature has in nature virus killers, herbs that are known to kill viruses. So therefore, that's the approach. Okay, I don't never name a virus. I find a virus in you, I'm not telling you, oh, you have this particular virus. No, because I know better. Because I know the body is all truth, that the creator gave us the ability to find viruses in our bodies when you understand this knowledge. And in nature, the creator put virus killers for you to go get to get rid of the virus. Okay, so therefore, this particular person was diagnosed with this, not by me, by a medical doctor. And I said, okay. I said, I know how we're going to deal with this, okay, because we want to first be able to open up those lung passageways because they couldn't breathe, you know what I'm saying? And I knew that I had to increase the iron count with this particular person. Why? Why would I have to increase the iron count? Because iron helps you to increase oxygen. So what happens when a lot of times when they spray these pesticides out there, this glyphosate that they spraying out there on these weeds, killing our dandelion, okay, you're killing the iron because dandelion is high in iron. You see what I'm saying? So whatever food is actually growing where you didn't spray, so-called killing the dandelion, because the dandelion is affecting the crops. Whatever food that's growing is now not high in iron like it would have been. So a lot of times what you'll find is, even though you might be eating spinach and kale, or your green leafy vegetables, if you're not getting enough and your iron is still low, then it could be because of what they've been spraying. You see what I'm saying? So I knew that with this person, I had to increase the iron levels because why? Well, first of all, low iron deficiency, which they call anemia, right? Lowers glutathione levels, okay? And glutathione is made up, it's an antioxidant that's made up of 3 amino acids: L-glutamine, L-glycine, and cysteine. And if you research those 3 amino acids, you will find that those 3 amino acids deal with helping you to breathe. Okay? So to give you an example, because I'm going to read it to you from Dr. Wyatt's book.
Is that book available? Because I have people calling me asking me, do I know how?
Well, listen, it's really very hard to get now. And, I have some sources that I might be able to get it. I'm not sure of the number of books that they might have left, but it's not very easy to get anymore. But that's because
any thoughts
I have
about
to write my book.
Right. Someone asked if you had a book, and I was gonna.
Well, that's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's coming. So, but what I wanted to say to you is that if you look at the deficiency, okay, and I'm reading this out of Dr. Wyatt's book, glutamine, which is an amino acid, okay, helps prevent breathing difficulties. There you go, right there. That's not the only thing it does, but listen, when you're talking about a situation with a virus that's causing people to have difficulty in breathing, using common sense, then you got to be deficient in that amino acid if you're having difficulty in breathing, because this amino acid helps prevent breathing difficulties. See what I'm saying? We got to use common sense. It's also, helpful in treating the toxic effects of alcohol. So if you're dealing with a person that has a problem with alcohol abuse, it's also good for that. It's also good for helpful in treating schizophrenia. Okay, it's good for treating ulcers. All right, it helps improve intelligence. All right, glycine, the other amino acid that's directly related with this, right? It's good for treating bipolar depression. It's good for helping with muscular control. Okay, it's good for repairing damaged tissues. All right, helpful with seizures. Okay, for men, it's helpful in maintaining a healthy prostate. And then cysteine, right? The other amino acid that's made up of glutathione aids in the side effects of chemotherapy. So if anybody who's had any kind of chemotherapy radiation, it helps with that. It helps reduce age spots, aids in the absorption of iron, like I said, and increases glutathione levels in the lungs, kidneys, and bone marrow. Okay.
So how is that taken? I mean, is that in some? I'm sure that some of what you named.
So what I usually do is I recommend a formula that's plant-based that has those amino acids in it. Okay, because people have to understand that amino acids are very important, and you cannot ignore your amino acid. Why? Because they're your building blocks. They can help create your structure. You see what I'm saying? And I try to make things very simple for people to understand. So if I had to say to you, what is an amino acid that you can relate to in real life situation that you can see? Amino acids are like the mortar in between your bricks. So if you built a building and you had no mortar between the bricks, just a building with bricks, what you would have is an unstable building. That building is not stable because it has no mortar to hold the bricks together. That's what amino acids are. If you don't have amino acids in your body structure don't hold up. Okay? So you need them. You need aminos to help to hold proper structure. You see what I'm saying? So just being deficient in those three amino acids, glycine, L-glutamine, and cysteine, you're going to have problems with breathing. Okay? Now, if you know that this so-called disease that's out there, this pandemic, is causing people to have breathing difficulties, they cannot breathe, okay, then common sense will tell you that they have to be deficient in these amino acids. And why do I know that for a fact? Because I used it on my client and they got better, who, quote unquote, was told that this was what they call COVID, okay? Remember, I didn't name it. and the thing about it is that when I saw this particular client, they could hardly make a sentence. They could hardly breathe. They lost a lot of weight. They could hardly breathe, hardly walk. When I put them on the herbal regimen, within an hour, they was able to make a complete sentence. They couldn't even hardly do that without losing their breath. Within 4 days, that person texted me and said, hey, I'm in my garden doing some gardening today. This is a person who just 4 days ago couldn't hardly walk and hardly talk. 7 days later, they driving around in their car. They couldn't even drive. And now they drive. And this person is a particularly, real energetic person that's really loud. Like, you know how some people just talk loud. Very energetic person. And that all that energy, 7 days, all that energy was back.
It's back, huh?
And I said to myself, I said, you know something? I said, look at creation. Creation was done in 6 days and 7 days rest. It was complete, right?
Right.
I said in 7 days, that person was completely healthy again.
Wow, that's great. Here we've got some more questions here, quite a few.
Yeah.
How would you treat people with STDs like herpes, chlamydia, etc., with herbs versus using antibiotics? Or would you?
So First thing I'm gonna do is find out.
And then there's another question up there that asked about if is there a difference between herpes and cold sores. So I'm gonna put those two together.
They're actually interrelated. Herpes and cold sores, that's a form of herpes. But
genital
here's
herpes.
the thing.
Is there a difference between cold sore and genital herpes? Let me be there.
Okay. Let's look at. Remember we talk about. We gotta stop chasing the names because that's why I said we chasing ghosts. Let's look at the fact that we're just dealing with a virus. Okay.
Virus. Yeah.
All right. Now, one of the amino acids, they're going back to aminos, is very good in dealing with a situation like herpes. Okay, because we're using the name, but like I said, it's a virus. Lysine. Lysine is very good for dealing with that. I have had great success with giving clients lysine to deal with it. Okay, and if you start paying attention when you go into a lot of these drugstores and you buy chapstick, you'll see a lot of chapstick out there that says chapstick with lysine. Okay, because people put that on their lips when they got fever blisters and stuff like that. But taking the amino acid lysine is very good for dealing with that. So I don't get caught up on the name. Like I said, you get caught up on the name and you're going to get stuck. Let's deal with what's going on. Okay. So I know that person has an amino acid deficiency. Okay. And then I'm going to educate them on staying away from doing an abundance of L-arginine, which will cause a flare-up. Okay. So what is one thing that I know, which L-arginine is a very necessary amino acid. But when you're dealing with something like that, right, you got to watch your intake of seafood because crabs and shrimps, they high in L-arginine and they will cause you to have what you want to call a herpes flare-up. So you want to stay away from foods that are high in L-arginine. But do your lysine, because lysine helps with that. But lysine is such a wonderful amino acid. It does a lot of things. Lysine helps you with sleeping better. Lysine helps you with absorption of calcium and magnesium. Oh, lysine is great. You know what I'm saying? I've used lysine to help women who have irregular cycles because lysine helps to control your cycle. But the medical profession will give you a drug called Listita, okay? And Listita is nothing but a genetically modified version of the amino acid L-lysine. Now, why would I give somebody Listita and not L-lysine? Because I can't patent L-lysine because L-lysine is a natural amino acid. But I can patent Listita because I created that. You see what I'm saying?
That's what they do, yeah.
So I'm going to give them lysine, the natural amino acid, to do the same thing. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to give them what the creator gave us. See, that's creator given. Okay? That's why you can't patent it. Because you can't own nature. That's creator given. So I'm giving lysine.
Here we go. Clean. Okay. Is there something natural to assist with the addiction of smoking? Talking about a chain smoker, on 4 medications as a schizophrenic, and smoking 3 or 4 packs a day.
L-tyrosine. Now we're talking about another amino acid. If you're deficient in L-tyrosine, you cannot control a nicotine addiction. Okay? So if that person is smoking all those 2 and 3 packs of cigarettes a day, I already know that they're deficient in L-tyrosine. I already know it. Because if you're deficient in L-tyrosine, you can't control that nicotine craving. L-tyrosine is also good for drug withdrawal too. And you also got to clean out the liver because the liver is the store of all addictions. So when you're dealing with a person that has an addictive behavior, you cannot correct that addictive behavior unless you clean that liver out. You got to clean out the liver. That's very necessary. That liver is very necessary to be cleaned out. And I can look in their eyes and figure it out. You know, because a lot of times the root of it is some anger issues that were unresolved. You know what I'm saying? And I can look dead in their eyes and see if there's an issue going on with anger. You know, where they tell you the eyes are the window to the soul, and that's really the truth. That is really the truth. You can see imbalances going on with a person by being able to look in their eyes. The markings are there. It will tell you exactly what's going on when you understand this science. Okay? And there's several different ones. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I do iridology, I do sclerology, and I do what is called pupil border dynamics. Okay? Pupil border dynamics deals with the shapes of your pupil. And believe me, the shapes of your pupil can tell you what type of personality this person has. So actually, if you understand this science, you can look at somebody's pupil and tell if they got psychotic behavior. Very powerful. Very, very powerful.
How can a 400 plus pound person first clean the colon and lose weight?
Well, I would say this first. We have to deal with first the emotional state that caused the weight problem. You see what I'm saying? Dr. Wyatt used to have a saying, he used to say, nobody's overweight. It's just the emotional state that needs to be dealt with. See, there's some type of emotional state that's going on that caused the person to eat. I've found in my experience, and Dr. Wyatt used to say this as well, a lot of clients we find that have issues with weight problems, there was something that that person was holding on to that they did not want to let go of. You know what I mean? It could be a number of different things. It could be abuse. It could be the longing for a particular parent. You know, it could be like, you know, they didn't have their father in their life, and this caused the eating disorder, or they didn't have their mother in their life, and this caused the eating disorder. There's different emotional states that cause people to overeat. So we got to deal with the emotional state first, okay? Because once we deal with the emotional state of what's really going on with them emotionally, then we can help them lose weight and help them keep it off. Because now they will recognize what was the problem in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Because they start learning how to let go of it. You see, we got to get in there and find out the root of it so that we can figure out how to let them let go of that issue. Because a lot of us are holding on to stuff, you know what I mean, that we need to let go of. And, you know, like I tell people all the time, I say, you show me a person that's constipated, I'll show you a person that it's got something that they're holding on to that they're not letting go of. And that is the body's reaction to it. If you're holding on to this emotional state, the body now holds on to the waste. So you got to learn how to let stuff go, because some of this stuff is deeply rooted. You see what I'm saying? And taking these drugs are never going to get rid of that problem, because the drug's not dealing with the emotional state. Why are you in this condition in the first place? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and we got a lot of behavior out here now, you know, because what to me, I'm gonna tell you right now what I see, you know, because, you know, when you do what I do, you're opened up to a lot of stuff. Your vision is so broad and wide. You know, Dr. Wyatt used to always say, Dave, you get so good at this, you want to cover your eyes because of what you see. So what I see today, even bigger than this pandemic problem, is impatience. The impatience that we have today is such a major problem today, because this impatience is leading to anger. We want everything at the snap of a finger. And we have no patience at all. You see it in the behavior of people's driving today. You see the behaviors of people who stand in long lines. If you look up the definition of patience, it'll tell you one of the definitions that's used is to be able to endure or not get easily aroused in anger when even waiting in a long line. I tell people all the time, one of the greatest things that the Creator taught me about patience was me dealing with the supermarket. Because I used to wonder why every time I would get in a line in the supermarket that was long, and I saw a shorter line, that as soon as I ran and got in that shorter line, the longer line ended up finishing faster than the shorter line.
Yes.
And it took me a couple years to figure it out. And then when I figured it out, I gave the Creator thanks. And I said, thank you for teaching me this lesson, because I was humbled by it. And I said, you know what? You just taught me to stay in your lane and not always look for the faster path, because sometimes the faster path ain't the answer. And that's the same with health. You think you're going to get healthy fast after you've been dealing with something for years? Guess what? Guess again. No, that's not going to happen.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yes. I tell people all the time, the three greatest doctors, and there's no doctors greater than these three doctors. The three greatest doctors is nature, time, and patience. You can never heal impatiently. You must have patience to heal, okay? Because healing comes in a season, just like everything else, okay? When winter comes, you long for summer, but guess what? You got to wait, because winter got to run its course. Right. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we have to understand that just like the seasons, our health is going to get better in seasons, okay? So you're not going to just take one herb and then, wow, I'm well already. No, it's going to take time, okay? Because we got to deal with different levels, okay? Because remember, you're the sum total of everything you've done since birth. So if you got something that goes back that far, it's not going to be resolved in one day. It takes time, but it can be resolved. You see what I'm saying? If you're willing to do the work. You see, Dr. Wyatt used to say that all the time. He said, the biggest problem that we have is getting you to do the work. If you do the work, you will see the results. You have to do the work. I'm a living proof. You know what I'm saying? My liver imbalance didn't get corrected in one day. You see what I'm saying? It took months before I got to the point where I could tell that doctor, I ain't taking no more tests. I don't need to take no more tests. I'm fine. You see what I'm saying? But that didn't happen day one. It took time. It took time. It took education. Okay? But once I got there, I'm there. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is, when you are in tune with nature and the Creator, when you are in tune, it will validate why you were sent on that course. And I tell people all the time, how it was validated for me was when in 2012 a medical doctor called for my assistance because they were dealing with liver cancer. And when I had the conversation with them, I told them about my own experience with my liver, and coincidentally or not, he said to me, you know what? You did the right thing, because in 2004, the same exact year, he said, that's when I had my liver biopsy done. Same thing, I refused. I said, I'm not getting no liver biopsy done. It don't feel right with my spirit. You're not cutting on me. He said, I had the liver biopsy done, and my liver never stopped hurting me. And here with me, 2004 is the same time when I came up against that decision and decided not to do that. Wow. And here it is now 2020. I don't know liver problems. My liver don't bother me at all.
So,
Absolutely not.
someone asked what would be a good liver cleanser.
So I have a liver cleansing formula. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to cleanse the liver. But the thing is that I would rather see whether or not that's what you need to do. You know what I mean? Before I would recommend something for you to do. But there are good liver cleansers out there. But let's find out whether or not you need to do a liver cleanse. Nature's Sunshine makes an excellent liver cleanse. You know, I can tell you, yeah, you can go get liver cleanse. You know what I'm saying? Or I have myself a liver cleanse formula. You know, but my thing is that I want to see if that's what you need to do, if that's a problem. You know what I mean? But what I can tell you to do diet-wise to keep your liver strong is eat plenty of green vegetables, because green food, the liver loves green food, okay? The liver loves, remember that what I'm telling you, the liver loves green foods. Eat green foods. Eat your kale, eat your spinach, eat your, collard greens. Eat chard, right? Eat your greens. Get your green on. You know what I mean?
Get some watercress. Yeah, get some watercress.
Yeah, eat your green foods because the liver loves it. Absolutely loves it.
Here's one. If you were told you were losing your sight just as your mother did, and there's no cure, is it true?
If you're losing your sight, you said?
Wait, yeah, she says, I think, yeah. She said, if you were told you were losing your sight just as your mother did, like it's something hereditary, and that there is no cure, should she take that? First of all, I think
no, because I would tell you that you always got to look further than what somebody's telling you. That oh well, your mother had it, your grandmother had it. That means you're going to have it. We got to stop.
Cut your breast off because it's breast cancer that you found. You don't have any sign of it, but you could get it. So you need to take them off, and then you won't get it. Yeah, I've heard people, do that.
We gotta look at what's going on with the diet when you're talking about issues with the eyes. Because a person that eats a lot of dairy, a lot of times people eat a lot of dairy will have problems with their eyes. Okay. There could be a deficiency in vitamin A, okay, which is very important to your eyesight. Okay, which is also dealing with the liver, because the liver and eyes are connected. Okay, so you want to make sure that there's no issues going on with the liver, because think about it, folks. When a person told that they have jaundice, right? What is the one sign that a person knows they have jaundice? Because the eyes, right? Yeah. So that tells you right there that the eyes and the liver are connected. What goes on with the liver will show up in the eye if it's that bad. You see what I'm saying? Right. Sight loss. If you're eating a lot of dairy, you could be causing you to have problems with your eyes, especially in later years. Lack of vitamin A, which also the liver needs. Beta carotene, which also the liver needs. You see what I'm saying? So we need to figure out what are you deficient in that could be causing eyesight problems. And there are herbs that nutritionally support the eyes and strengthen the eyes. So to say that there's nothing that can be done is not true. There are things nutritionally that can be done to improve your eyesight, but we got to find out what you're deficient in. You see what I'm saying? And what your diet is like. Because if you're eating the wrong foods, it can affect your eyesight. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Are there any herbs that are good for the menstrual cycle? And I don't know whether they're talking about problems with the menstrual cycle.
It all depends. It all depends on what you got going on. But I could tell you a female herb, two female herbs that are good. That offhand, we're talking about Dunquai is a good female herb that's good for dealing with the whole reproductive system. And then you have herb like red raspberry. Red raspberry is a woman tonic. I'm telling you, that's a good herb to help, with cycle issues. But then we still want to find out what's going on with your cycle, because you could be lysine deficient as well. You see what I'm saying? And for those who eat meat, I always tell women all the time, even though, you know, those that are meat eaters, don't eat meat around your cycle. Because if you got problems with your cycle, it's going to be even worse if you eat meat around your cycle. So don't cut out the meat around your cycle. And you'll watch it improve as well. But lysine, dung quai, you know, herbs like red raspberry, very good. Very, very good for dealing with cycle issues.
Okay, I'll put that down there.
It's very
good. And lysine. Okay. Let me see if there are any. Is there a cure for tooth decay?
Well, let's find out what's going on, what's causing it. You know what I mean? We got to find out what's causing the tooth decay. I mean, there's herbs, like I use herbs to brush my teeth. You know what I'm saying? I use a toothpaste, a non-fluoride toothpaste, you know, but I use a herbal tooth powder that has different herbs in it, like clove, bud, herbs like white oak bark is very good for the gums and teeth. Herbs like olive leaf is very good, which is all these are actually in the tooth powder that I use. But these are herbs that are good for your gums and good for your teeth. Me, a person who understands this science, I can tell you that I have not had any problems with my teeth. And I have not seen a dentist since I got out of the Marine Corps in 1984 is the last time. And I when I tell you, I don't know what a toothache is like. You know, and I'm gonna tell you, I use common sense in that situation, because when I was getting out of the Marine Corps, you know, they make you go see a dentist. You know what I mean? Because that's part of the protocol. You know, when you check into the service, you got to go through all these health checkups. When you get out, you have to go through all these health checkups. And when I was getting out, the dentist said to me, now prior to this, mind you, I never had a problem with my teeth, never had no toothache, didn't know what a toothache was like. When I first went into the Marines, they said my teeth was perfect. The only thing that I had was spacing because I have a gap. And they said, other than that, your teeth are fine. Now, the whole time I was in the military, never knew what a toothache was like. When I got in this 1984, I'm getting out of the Marine Corps, and the dentist says to me, "Oh, you have 2 cavities." I'm like, "Really?" I said, "My teeth never hurt me." You sure? He said, "Yeah, you have 2 cavities." So he said, "Okay, I got to put 2 fillings in." He put 2 fillings in my mouth, and my teeth hurt for 2 weeks. And common sense said to me, "Wait a minute. I didn't have pain, and I went and got pain. Something is wrong with that picture." That was 1984. This 1984. This is 2020. I have not had a toothache. Don't know what toothache is. Don't have no tooth pain. And my teeth, I don't have no teeth problems. Just using my herbs to brush my teeth and my herbal toothpaste that I use. And that's it. And I don't have no problems with my teeth. You know, I don't have
they ask if neem, and I use neem sometimes, if neem is good for the teeth and gums.
Neem is good. Neem's good.
Yeah, as well as charcoal. I use charcoal paste.
Activated charcoal, absolutely.
We are look, we may have to go over a little bit. What do you recommend for someone who feels high levels of weakness, hot flash, near fainting, blacking out eyesight, and ringing in the ears during the first day of menstrual cycle? So
Black cohosh is good, but I have a hot flash formula too. You know what I mean, which has a combination of herbs. And this is the thing that people got to understand. I want to say this too, because you have a lot of people out there selling herb products, but really don't understand the combining of herbs. You have to know how to combine herbs properly, okay? Because if you don't, you can either cause no effect at all for the person that's taking it, or you could cause a problem. So you have to know how to balance out the herbs properly. So if you haven't been trained on it, don't sit up there and think because you can see all the ingredients in it and just think you can throw all the ingredients in the batch and you got the formula. That doesn't work that way. It's the same as you say, okay, well, I got all the ingredients for the cake. Let me throw them all together and just throw it in the pan. Guess what you ain't going to have? You ain't going to have cake. Because if you don't know how to put a pinch of this, a tablespoon of that, a cup of this, if you don't know how to do that, you're not going to have a cake. Same with making a formula. You don't know right combinations, you don't have a formula. So you don't want to sit up there and tell people, oh yeah, I got this formula, you know, it's going to work because you know all the ingredients of the formula that you're taking. Don't make that mistake. You'll be sorry. You see what I'm saying? So I ain't tell anybody, you know what I'm saying? If you're going to do this, go to school, get some training. You know what I mean? Because we need more of me. You know what I'm saying? But get some training. You know, get taught what to do. You know what I'm saying? Don't run out here and think, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this and do that. One thing that's out here now that everybody's doing is CMOS. CMOS is good. Dr. Sebi was right. It's good. But here's what you got to be careful of. You got to be careful overdoing it. Because you can overdo CMOS. So don't go CMOS crazy. See what I'm saying? It is good for you. But see, because we're new to this stuff, what happens is we go do it in abundance. Yo, I got these CMOS drinks and I drink 5 of them a day. That might be too much. You know what I mean? Or I drink my 5 CMOS drinks a day, and I just made this CMOS cupcake, and then I just made this CMOS pie, and it's like, yo, do you know if you do too much, you can cause your thyroid to get out of balance because you're giving it too much iodine? Or a situation where somebody is, because they don't know the difference, taking kelp and taking bladderwrack and not knowing that bladderwrack is a form of kelp. You see what I'm saying? You got to know this stuff. You know what I mean? It ain't just as easy as you might think. It's just doing, well, I'm going to just go ahead and do CMOS. You need to know what you're doing and not to do it, overdo it. You know what I mean? I ain't telling you not to do it. I'm telling you, be careful not to overdo it. Okay? So you got to be mindful.
Do you recommend, the question is, what is a good school for training of herbs and the combination of them? I guess the Trinity school you went to, right? Trinity College.
So I would recommend Trinity. Trinity is an excellent school for learning.
What's it called? Trinity.
You know what I'm saying?
Trinity.
Now,
what's it called?
Trinity School of Natural Health. A great school for learning how to become an herbalist or a naturopath or whatever your choice. It's a great school for that. It is. But, you know, what we will start doing, Dr. G, is because I know people are going to want to know, we'll put together classes to teach as well. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to have some kind of ideal, some kind of foundation. You see what I'm saying? Some kind of ideal. You know, the 7 years that I studied under Dr. Wyatt was priceless. You know, Trinity was a breeze for me because why? Because I was already doing this. Because I was taught by a master teacher. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, what I'm saying is, get some training so that you know what you're doing. Don't just be out here running rampant telling somebody that you got this herb and to do all this, but you got to know whether or not it's for that person. Be responsible. That's all I'm saying. Be responsible. I welcome the people that want to know about their health and want to understand and want to learn. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the point of why we're talking. But listen, get the training. You know what I'm saying? So you really know what you're doing. You know, and I'm here to help. You know what I mean? Me and Dr. G will talk about it. We'll set up classes for you. You see what I'm saying? So that you can be taught properly. You know? Because it's very important to learn properly. you know, as in order to be successful with it.
Yes. Someone asked if a tablespoon of sea moss gel in a smoothie would be appropriate, would be good, say like a tablespoon in a smoothie.
So you know, the amount that you might need, okay, could be different per the person, because you don't know what type of imbalance that person has. They got some, you know, issues, thyroid issues or something like that, then maybe a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons might be good for them. You know, it varies by person. You see what I'm saying? But my thing is that you just want to be responsible. That's all. And you know, my thing is that you know, when you're talking about doing it in encapsulated form, like I said, like with my formulas, you know, they're synergistically balanced. You see what I'm saying? So just doing it in a form and not knowing whether or not it's synergistically balanced, you got to be careful. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that it's synergistically balanced correctly. You know, that's so very, very important. So very, very important that you're doing it right. Yeah. Right. But you know, how time flies, right?
yeah, we are. The only thing, the good part about it is that I really, you know, I don't have to worry about whether or not, you know, I stay within a particular, you know, time frame, because it, you know, we have control of that. So that's the good part.
Right.
You know, so I'm trying to see what I'm doing here, but
you know, Dr. Gillen, real quick, what I want to tell people too is if you're going to do this, love it. Love what you're doing and love the people. If you have no love for the people and you don't know and you don't have love for what you're doing, do not do this. Okay? Do not do this. Do not do this with the ideal that I'm going to get rich from this. Yeah. Because nature will know if you're true to the game. Okay? If you out here faking it and you doing this for the money, nature will show you why they don't want you as a participant. Love the people, okay? Love the people, okay? Yes, it takes money to do this, absolutely. But what I'm saying is, don't make that your main objective, okay? You have to love the people. Dr. Wyatt used to tell me all the time, love the people, love the people.
You know, here's a question: someone has any help for someone that suffers with bloating stomach, and I want to, if I can address my recent experience with that. You know, sure. I'm going through a process now on an anti-inflammatory regimen, and what I did was I went and I got a colonic, and along with the colonic, I got an evaluation, a live evaluation of my stool to see exactly what was going on. I was very bloated, in not only in my stomach but in my face, my whole, you know, inflammation. Turns out I didn't have parasites, but I actually had inflammation and a lot of mucus in the body. So I'm on this anti-inflammatory regimen today. It's like day 18. I went at 18th day, 17th day. I get it right. But what I found is the bloating in my stomach has pretty much, all I have is the place where, you know, when you've been stretched out for a while, of course, you're going to have to tone the fat. But the actual hardness of the bloating and a lot of like belching and all that has gone. And what I did, among other things, is I haven't had white flour, sugar, no bread, no potatoes. Only potatoes I've had can have yams and sweet potatoes. I haven't had any nightshades. I haven't had, while I'm doing this, unfortunately, I haven't had any even citrus right now. But the sugar, no agave, but I can have rice products. So I've had brown rice, rice cakes, rice syrup, which tastes like caramel. And I found I could have fruit preserves that are just straight fruit with no sugar added. And I found a terrific one at Trader Joe's for like $2 something. And raspberry, strawberry, and a mixed berry. I mean, you put that on a 27 calorie rice cake and I'm in heaven, and with some almond butter or some sesame butter. I can't have peanut butter, but I've cut these things out of my diet. And you know what they say, it takes 21 days to make a habit. And so I'm almost at Monday will be 21 days. And I'm the kind of person that I wrap everything around a piece of bread, right? So I have had no bread. I've been eating stir fries and so forth. I've been eating, stir frying the veggies and leaving the crunch in them, Instant potting and steaming some collard greens and still having a little bit of a crunch. No meats in it, except I was eating the chicken because they said I could have chicken. And of course, for the blood type, I can't have it. I'm not supposed to have.
Right.
Anybody who's a B blood type should not eat, among other things, chicken.
Yeah.
I had gone off.
I'm telling you, blood types.
But I've lost 8 pounds. I've lost 8 pounds, and so when I went, just to get it finished, when I went in to get another colonic, my therapist, he said to me, your face, and you all probably see, you can look at me from a couple of videos a couple weeks ago. I was a lot more bloated, and so forth. It's clearing out my body.
Yeah.
Of inflammation of the mucus. I was doing Navage every day, to clear my nose. I would wake up in the middle of the night choking and gagging on phlegm. When I was sleeping. It's not happening. It's cutting the sugar, the flour, the breads, no wheat. I haven't had any wheat. I haven't had any pasta, and I don't miss it. First 3 days, I kind of felt like I was a little tired, on this, and then I'm drinking more water now than I ever drank in my life, and it's cleaning that out. So that for me is taking away the bloating, and I'm pretty sure it's clearing up a lot of the the inflammation, because I'm looking at myself right now on camera, and I can absolutely see that there's a more slimness. You saw me. Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's like a whole new world, and I tell people too. We're dealing with bloating. Let's find out, like in your situation is one thing, but like I find that, a lot of times people have problems with bloating. They have parasites, or they have situations where they're deficient in probiotics. You know what I'm saying? So they got to make sure that they're taking probiotics and the right strands. That's where we got to be careful, because sometimes when we get caught up in taking all these multiple strands, sometimes we're taking the wrong strands of probiotic, because everybody's not the same. Right. And so sometimes we're taking these probiotics that are these particular friendly bacteria that are more beneficial for Caucasians instead of us, and then we make that mistake, and then we don't really get the results. So strands of bacteria is very important too. So you want to make sure that you're taking the right combination of probiotics, and try to take probiotics that are dairy free, because especially if you have problems with lactose. So take some probiotics that are good for you, that are lactose free, because a lot of times if you're deficient in probiotics, you'll have gas and bloating. That's one of the symptoms of being probiotic deficient. The other thing you got to, keep in mind, like I said, the dairy, and watch that dairy, you know what I'm saying? And, a sure way to track stuff down too is keep a food diary. You start writing down what you're eating every day, and then start paying attention to how your body reacts to it. You see what I mean? Because you'll start finding out, if I eat this particular food, I get this way. All right, then my body's telling me that food should be eliminated from my diet. Got to start paying attention, because the body talks. You just got to learn the language, pay attention to what your body's doing. And it's important, you know what I mean? But, we just have to just be mindful. And blood type is very important, because you can sit up there and eat something that you think is healthy because that's what you've been told. But for your particular blood type, it might be bad for you.
Yeah, so I would recommend that
you write for your blood type. Yes,
write your blood type book, and then they have specific books once you know what your blood type is. Like in my case, it's
know your blood type.
A book that you can carry around with you, and kind of know whether or not you should be doing it. Here's a question, and I'm interested too, because I suffer from this: a remedy for Kurtosis, Pilaris. You know, the chicken skin, you get it on the the back, the friction points, like the back of the leg or right here. You have the little, looks like the little prickly bumps. Is I have some stuff that I bought, you know, that you're supposed to like a scrub, but it's
right. There's things that you can do externally or to put on the skin. One thing that I like that's really good for dealing with skin issues is the African Gator Balm. African Gator Balm is a good cream that's made of a combination of herbs that you could put on the skin to help improve rashy and blotchy skin conditions. But whenever I think about the skin, I always go back to the liver, okay? Because cleaning that liver out is important too when you're dealing with skin issues. And so herbs like Oregon grape, which is a great liver cleaner that's good for dealing with outbreaks in the skin. Oregon grape is a great herb for that. Another herb that's good for that is olive leaf. Olive leaf is another good herb for dealing with stuff like that. So, you know, you want to cleanse the liver when you're dealing with outbreaks of the skin as well, you know. And you know, like I said, when anybody, I would want to check them to see all the different things that are going on with them that led to it. You see what I'm saying? Because I can tell you certain things that'll help, but unless you're in front of me and I'm seeing exactly what your imbalance, where your imbalances are, then, you know, I'm only giving you something that might be a possibility to help it. You see what I'm saying? But when I see you, then I'll know, okay, this will take care of that. You know what I mean? Because I got to find out exactly all the stuff that's going on with you. But those are herbs that are good for dealing with outer skin issues. Oregon grape,
like a chicken skin.
olive leaf are very good.
I said they call it's almost like they said like the chicken. You know, like if you pluck the chicken and you see the little prickly,
right.
And it, you know, friction. Like, you know, if you're keeping your arms say like down like this, driving or say on a desk or where you're sitting, the back of the thighs, the part that, you know, hits the chair and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, those are the places where you'll get
sometimes what you eat.
Go ahead.
The rash, yeah. And sometimes what you eat too plays a big part in it too. You know what I'm saying? I've seen, you know, skin issues as a result of a person drinking alcohol. I've seen skin issues as a result of a person eating a lot of seafood, you know, because seafood didn't agree with them. You know, different things. You know, a person can have allergic reaction to peanut butter. You know, different things can cause that. You know, as far as diet wise, you know, because you could be eating something that you think is good for you and it's not. You know, just like you know, I had a client, you know, O positive, and I was at a function and they were talking to me and they were saying that they was in a lot of pain and they wanted to come see me. And it was a morning function, so they were serving breakfast and they were drinking orange juice. And I said, "Do you know what your blood type is?" And they said, "Well, I'm O positive." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, if you're O positive, you shouldn't be drinking orange juice." And they was like, "Really? I shouldn't be drinking orange juice?" She said, "I thought that was good because it's high in vitamin C and all. I thought orange juice was good for you. My refrigerator is full of orange juice and oranges and tangerines. I thought that, you know, kept my immune system strong." I said, "For O blood types, oranges aren't good." She's like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You know what's good for you?" I said, "Black cherry juice, pineapple juice. That's good for O blood types. Drink that." She took my advice. 3 days later, she gave me a text back and she said, "You know what?" She said, "Since I cut out drinking orange juice and eating oranges and started drinking pineapple juice and the black cherry juice," she said, "I haven't had to take my pain medicine in 3 days." I said, "Because it was causing inflammation." See? And you thought you was doing something good. You know what I mean? So you got to know, you know, with your blood type, it plays a big part.
I would highly recommend.
You know what I mean? Definitely plays a big part.
Someone just asked, "What about AB positive?" And I
absolutely.
But I opened the book and I opened it right to AB, right to AB, which is a whole section in here on the AB diet. There's about there's like too much for me to even share. But this book is fully revised, updated, the original blood type, Eat Right for Your Type by Dr. Peter J. Diadamo. And I would highly recommend this book. It
Yes.
has what you need if you know your blood type. First thing you gotta, because I'm
Very
amazed.
good. Absolutely.
I'm
Very
amazed at
good.
the number of people that don't know their blood type. There were so many people who have no idea what blood type they are. So, you know, it's same for
Yeah.
you, Matt Austin Bay. This book, it's just there's sections for each blood type, and it'll give you the highly
Yeah.
beneficial,
And you know,
neutral,
that
and
could
what,
be,
and what to
listen,
avoid.
that
Yeah.
subject, I could go a whole nother 2 hours on, but I gotta get ready to go. But
Yes.
that blood type, oh yes.
Yes. So I highly recommend. I'm gonna put this down here. Eat right for your blood type. I'm gonna type it in case, you know, for anybody if they want to yeah, for your type rather. It's called For Your Type.
Now one other thing I wanted to say.
Go ahead. I think we lost you. Are you still with us?
So also I wanted to say that you know, we gotta be mindful too. Huh? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think we're freezing up.
Yeah. Well, I can hear you. Just keep talking.
You know, Doc, maybe it's time for it's time for the show to end, because it's
Well,
getting there. It's getting near time for me to go anyway, and I'm
right.
like, we're starting to have a little difficulty. So
Okay.
I guess we'll just probably end this on a good note. And you know, if you want to get in touch with me, I don't know if it's on the screen or not, but I do see my emails on the screen.
I'm gonna move the banner so that they can see your contact information. There's your email, at Gmail,
right.
dlevy83@gmail.com, and your contact 267-250-9178. I think it says.
And just keep in mind that if I miss your call, make sure you leave me a message, okay? Because you know I get calls all the time, and you know I don't catch them all. So if I miss it, leave me a message, okay? Let me know who you are, and I'll give you a call back. Definitely do that. But just let me, you know, just make sure that you leave me a message, okay? And be patient, because, like I said, I get a lot of calls, so it might not be right away, but I'll call you. You know, I'll definitely call you. And you know, I'm thankful, you know, for this today. You know, I'm glad that I was able to share this information with everybody. And I just want to say to you all that, you know, I wish the best of health for all of you. You know, this is why I do this, because nothing, you know, really upsets me more than to see someone sick. You know, and nothing gives me greater satisfaction than seeing someone well. So I love when someone gets well. You know what I mean? So it brings me joy. It really does. So, you know, I want you to know what's out there for you to be well, because we've suffered enough as a people, and it's time for us to do something different. We have to go back to what Allah put here for us. He told you, I put herbs here for the healing of nations. We have to realize this. You know what I'm saying? This is our culture, okay? We have to go back to it, okay? And we got to treat each other better and be in good spirit. You know what I mean? Watch our words. Watch how we talk to one another. You know, because abusive words have energy too. Don't think they don't. Be cordial to people. Talk nice to people, okay? We don't have to use all this foul language to get our points across. Okay? We can talk better than that. Okay? We can talk in non-abusive language. Okay? Come on. Because what you got to understand, the science behind that, and there's a book and a DVD out there called The Secret Life of Water. The effect that words have, okay? It's scientifically proven that words itself, the power of words, can do damage. So watch negative words, okay?
This is a
Speak
book
positive, yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Speak positive over something. Watch the negative words. You know what I'm saying? Because words can be damaging, okay? And you know, we're over 75% water. So if water takes on, the crystals in water takes on a different effect based on the vibration of a word, just imagine when you use negative words to people, what you are doing. And if you realize that, then you'll see why the condition of this world is the way it is. How we deal with one another. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of negative situations can be avoided. I ain't gonna say all of them, but a lot of them can be avoided by the way you handle things and the way you talk to people and the way that you respond. Okay? Respond with love. A lot of time, love will come back to you. And if you respond negatively, a lot of time, negativity will come back to you. Okay? Mm-hmm. So learn to love people more. Learn to treat them better. Talk to people with a smile. Believe me, I worked in the customer service field for 30 years. You know what the magic thing that they used to tell you? Talk to someone with a smile on your face. Guess what? You can hear a smile through the phone. And guess what? That's true. Okay? And they also can hear a frown through the phone. So smile when you talk. You know what I mean? It can help you avoid saying something negative. Because it's hard to say something negative while you smile. See what I mean? Smile. Nothing wrong with it. It's a great thing.
All right.
Great
Thank you for that advice.
So
appreciate you so much.
To all of you out there, Islam, assalamu alaikum, and peace.
Yes, and we will be back on let me see. Let me just say we will be back. I will be back on Friday night with our National Grand Sheikh, Tariq Bey, who will be talking on the subject of the truth about taxes. So we want you to tune in Friday night at 7-ish, because you know, guys, you know he's working, but we will be back for that regular House of Reawakening Minds or Reawakening Minds More Science Civics class on Friday, and I'll be back next Tuesday, which is my regular day. This week we did 2 weeks, but I'll be back next Tuesday with another edition of Office Hours with Dr. G, and I certainly want you to tune in for that. Thank you so much. We love you. Peace and blessings, not blessings, blessings be upon you. Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Dr. G. Really? Oh shit. Yeah, that's me. Dr. G. Really?
Yeah, that's me.